Hi and welcome to our Clay Kits Trinket Dish tutorial. In this video we're going to go over how to assemble your trinket dish and some tips and tricks. In your kit you're going to find a pound of clay, a pottery sponge, a skewer, a popsicle stick, your 3 colored slips, your template and instructions, and a contact sheet. You're also going to want to have a rolling pin, a butter knife, a paintbrush, a cup of water, a hairdryer, and some scissors. To get started, I'm going to unwrap my clay. I like to keep the plastic for later. It's great to slow down the drying of my project to prevent cracks, or in the case that I need to come back to it. I'm going to start rolling out my clay, switching it every so often, so turning it to its side or flipping it over to help make sure that I roll it out nice and even. Clay will stick to non-porous surfaces, so some newspaper, canvas, or a wooden board is great to put down first to prevent the clay from sticking. I'm going for about 1/4 inch thick. It doesn't have to be exact. There will be plenty of clay left over in this project, as long as I'm keeping that clay nice and even, again switching it or flipping it over every few rolls. When I'm done with that, I'm going to reference my instructions, and I see that the next step is to cut out my templates. I'm going to start by cutting out the A1 template. This is going to form the base of my trinket dish. Then I'll cut out the A2.1 and A2.2 templates. These are going to form the walls of my trinket dish. With my templates cut out, I can put those onto my clay and use those to trace around to cut out the shapes that I need for my project. It's okay if all of your templates don't fit onto the one slab of clay. You can always squish that clay back up and roll it back out if needed. I'm going to use the butter knife to cut around my shapes so that I have my pieces of clay. You can use the skewer included in your kit for this, but I find that the butter knife is a little bit cleaner. Remove the excess pieces of clay as you go. You can actually bring all those back to NLAS when you're done with your projects, and we'll recycle that clay so nothing goes to waste. My clay is pretty soft, so before I get started assembling it, I'm going to stiffen up my clay by using my blow dryer for a few minutes. Then I'm going to grab my skewer from my kit and use the scratch and attach method to join the short ends of my trinket dish walls to each other. This is going to start to form the loop of my trinket dish. The scratch and attach method allows me to add surface area so that my join is really strong and isn't going to come apart later. Once I've scratched up each side of my join, I'm going to add a little bit of water, and then I'm going to wiggle those together until they're firmly attached. I can use my fingers, my tools, or my sponge to help make sure that that join is really good, and I want to take my time on this piece and make sure that I attach from both sides. If you feel that your join is a little weak, you can use a bit of excess clay to reinforce it. Next, I'm going to use the exact same method to join the other ends of my trinket dish walls. This is going to form the loop and the complete walls of my trinket dish. Again, I want to take my time to join these pieces really well. If I need a little reinforcement, I can use a bit of my excess clay, and I'm going to make sure that I firmly attach it on all sides so that it won't come apart later. Now I can attach my Trinket dish walls to the base of my Trinket dish. Again, I'm going to use the scratch and attach method going all the way around the outside of my Trinket dish base to create lots of surface area for a really good join. And then I'm going to go all the way around the bottom of my Trinket dish walls where it's going to attach to the base. Before I join them, I'm going to add a little bit of water, just like before, so that they can firmly attach. Make sure to add that water on both sides of your joins. Then I can gently set the walls of my Trinket dish on top of the base, give it some taps to help attach it, and then take my time to make sure that I get a really secure attachment. I'm going to go around the sides and gently press in, and then I'm going to use my fingers or my tools to help smooth it on the outside to firmly attach to the base. I'd encourage you to take your time with this piece. We want to make sure that that clay really becomes one so that it doesn't crack later on in the process. With my walls and my base firmly attached, I can go around and start to smooth and refine my piece. A damp sponge is great for this, so are your fingers, your tools included in the kit, and anything else that you find useful. Really take your time with this piece. This is going to have a big impact on the way your finished piece looks. With my Trinket dish assembled, I'm going to use some of my excess clay to add some embellishments and really make it mine. I went ahead and broke off a little bit of my excess clay, and then I'm going to roll it out with my rolling pin to about that same 1/4 inch thickness. Then with the skewer included in my kit, I decided to cut out a little heart shape. Before I attach it, I'm going to tidy that shape up just by smoothing out the edges and actually use the blow dryer for just a minute just to stiffen it up a little bit so it's easier to work with. Then I can use a damp sponge or my fingers to make it nice and rounded before I go ahead and attach it into my Trinket dish. Then I'll use the same scratch and attach method we used earlier to attach it to my Trinket dish. Anytime we want to make a join or add anything to our piece, we need to make sure to thoroughly scratch and attach so that it doesn't come off later on in the process. Pieces that aren't well attached can pop off during drying or even during firing, so make sure to take your time when you do these joins, scratching both sides of the join, adding a little bit of water, and pressing on firmly until it doesn't move anymore. Once it's firmly attached, then I can go ahead and refine it, smooth the edges, and make it look really nice. The paintbrush is great for smoothing those hard to get to areas, so are your sponge, fingers, and again, anything else you find useful. Finally, it's time to decorate our piece using our colored slips. I chose red, yellow, and white for my project. This is a great chance to get creative and add a personal touch. Your slips will mix like paint, so you can combine colors. For example, if I use the red and the yellow, I could make orange, or if I wanted to make pink, I could add a little bit of red to my white. 3 coats is going to give you a nice opaque look, so if you want solid color, do a few coats, letting it dry in between. If you want that softer look, then you can do fewer coats. The raw clay will fire to a creamy off-white color, so if you're looking for a bright white, go ahead and use your white slip. I thought it would be really cute to add some little yellow scallops around the outside of my trinket dish, so I went all the way around filling those in, and then I went back for a second coat just to make sure I had good coverage. Slip is made of water, clay, and color pigment, so it will add some moisture back to your clay. If it's getting too soft, feel free to just use your blow dryer or let it sit out for a few minutes so it can stiffen back up. Before you're done, make sure to add your maker's mark to your piece. Your maker's mark is a signature or symbol that identifies your piece and helps us get it back to you. It needs to match your contact sheet, and your skewer included in the kit is a great way to add this mark. Finally, fill out your contact sheet so that we can make sure to get your piece back to you when it's all fired and ready for pickup. Hope you had a great time making your kit. I hope you got a little creative, a little messy. Thanks for being here, and happy potting!